logos means like logic, right? But it also is sort of, it's your thoughts, it's your mind. You could easily render the word as mind. In fact,
or expression.
Well, yeah, in the New Testament alone, the word logos is almost 50% translated as mind, as much as it is translated word. Because the idea is like it's your consciousness, it's your thoughts, it is the you that is the esoteric you, right? There's the physical you, there's me here, and the words that I speak, right? The words, hologos, that I speak. But the words are a deeper reflection of my consciousness, and that is your logos, your consciousness.
So that's why I say expression specifically, because, so you and I both are big fans of the band Breaking Benjamin, right?
Of course.
And if you were to introduce to us a new song by Breaking Benjamin that we'd never heard before, probably before we even heard the lyrics, we'd be able to tell that it was them.
Easily.
Because we're that accustomed to the style in which Benjamin Burnley writes his music. And so upon hearing the organization, what's the word I'm looking for? The composition of the music, the tones of the guitars, the tuning that it's in, we would hear, 30 seconds of the song and say, oh, well, that's Breaking Benjamin, right? Or you could even single it down to the guy who writes the music and the lyrics. Oh, that's Ben Burnley,
Yeah.
right? Well, that is not literally Ben Burnley, but that is expression which comes from Ben Burnley. That is his logos.
Yeah, that's actually I love that. That's my first time hearing you use that as music, as a parallel to this. That is perfect. Like to say, yeah, that's Ben Burnley. You and I both, at least you know me, my favorite classical artist from the Baroque period is, I'm sure you can finish that sentence,
Bach.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, you do know me. And so I can easily hear just a few seconds into a song and go, that's Bach. Now, I don't mean literally that's Bach, but that's his work. That's his expression. That's his style. That's him. It's him in music form. And to run with this, the Torah is God in written form. So it's not really a stretch to say that Jesus is God in a human form. But what we mean by that is that what we don't mean is that Jesus is God. What we mean is that Jesus is what Adam was, made perfectly in God's image before sin entered the world. He's the expression of. He is made in the image of. If I'm wrong, stop me at any time. Because I know it sounds confusing. Like I basically just said Jesus is God, but Jesus isn't God. I understand that might be confusing. But what I mean is like, depending on what you mean by certain words, how you define the words that you're using in a sentence will change everything. And so, yeah. From
English has limited the ability to define exactly how the concepts are different.
Yeah. And from John's point of view, because Jesus is the last Adam, he is made like Adam, made perfect in the image of God. And this is another thing, too. In Hasidus, imitation of God is the highest form of worship. That the goal of every Jew, I did a TikTok video about how the Talmud says that really every Jew should strive to be a Torah in the flesh, to imitate God. And so to say that, Jesus is the Torah, or the hologos, which would be the Torah. Like, logos and Torah is interchangeable in Hellenistic Judaism. So, yeah, to make that connection is to simply say that, okay, everything Jesus was and did, that's exactly what God does. So do that. He is what you should look at, because no one has seen God, right? God is invisible. No one can see him. But this is it. Like, if the Torah is written, which is a lower dimension, this is a living version, do that. And again, this is very common in Judaism. In fact, Judaism, especially in the first century, presupposes that your rabbi is a living Torah, so that you can copy that rabbi and imitate God as part of your worship. And of course, every human has their downfalls. But when we're talking about an age where there's less than 9% literacy rate, not everyone can pick up a Bible or even have access to a Torah scroll, much less read it if they had access. So they relied heavily on the teachings of the sages and whoever rabbi they attached themselves to as their only means of seeing God in some sort of physical form in a way to imitate it so that they could live their life in a godly manner. Whoa, that was a lot. There's
right.
like this is John 1:1, man. You can't come at this and be like, oh well, here's an easy answer. It takes a whole episode just to really break down hologos.